Hey, welcome to the All Out Soccer podcast. Not doing a full intro today. This is our second pod of the week. We're here in the office. Yes, we live in New York. We work in New York. That is New York behind us. I'm Jeremy. This is Joe.
Hi.
And we're just going to be previewing the MLS Cup Final. Just, this is a big game. It's a big freaking deal for soccer in the United States of America. It's Canada versus the U.S. in an MLS Cup Final. It's Muller versus Messi. A lot of eyeballs are going to be in this game that wouldn't normally be on an MLS Cup Final. It's really crazy.
I just think, Muller himself said it was the perfect scenario, the perfect matchup. And I think on how this season's gone, it is. Miami has been the best team in the East. Vancouver has been the best team in the West and obviously done well continentally as well. I just think it's the right matchup. And I feel like it could be a blockbuster. I really do feel like this could be one of the best finals. And whichever way it goes, it's going to be a massive story.
Oh, yeah, completely agree. I spoke with Landon Donovan yesterday at an event hosted by Panini in MetLife Stadium, and I had to ask him about who he thinks is going to win. And I think he was leaning Miami, but he said this is a worst-case matchup for Miami. I mean, Vancouver's been playing so well. They just got through this gauntlet of the West, and we were looking at the head-to-head matchups earlier, Vancouver smashed them in the CONCACAF Champions Cup earlier this year.
Wasn't even close, really.
No.
They absolutely blitzed them. It was a massive shock. Obviously, that's something that Miami was looking to win. They've got Leagues Cup already in the Supporters' Shield. Not quite gone the whole way. But to have a competition and a trophy like that under, Beckham's leadership, his ownership, it'll be incredible. But Vancouver smashed them. And we were also looking, they've met once in MLS, ever. Not this season, last season. That wasn't Miami win.
Well, there was no Messi and there was no Suarez in that game.
But is it really Miami? Yeah.
No, well, Suarez isn't part of Miami right now.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so it's a weird one. They've barely met, and they're both teams that have never ever got to the MLS Cup Final. They both have first-year head coaches in Mascherano and Sorensen. There's just so many unknowns. It's kind of a mysterious game. How is it going to go? We have a little bit of an idea, but I mean, as we've seen in MLS this year, anything can happen.
Yeah, Muller and Messi have met on 10 occasions over the years.
Okay.
Typically for Bayern Munich and Barcelona. Muller has 7 of those wins. I don't think any of that is endemic of, or should be telling of anything anywhere. Obviously, the teams have met up against each other. You think of Bayern versus Barca, COVID year, where it was that 7-1 crazy win in the quarterfinal. That Barcelona team sucked. And I mean, Muller, to his credit, was in the form of his life. And he's been playing very, very well recently for Vancouver. Just to shift a little bit tactically, it seems like he's had so much space on the ball.
Yeah.
To feed in these Vancouver wingers, Sabi, Jaden Nelson, who's coming off the bench, Ali Ahmed, who are just so pacey and so direct, and then have Brian White to feed to in the middle. It's just this really arguably one of the most potent attacks that, outside of Muller, you would say doesn't have that superstar figure.
Yeah, I've said this all year about how they added Muller, who is a star and one of the legends of the game. I don't think there's any controversial statement saying that. But they've just been the most solid team, I think, in MLS. And I've campaigned that. I've had fears with the defence. Tristan Blackmon is back for the MLS Cup Final, which is massive for Vancouver. But from the midfield going forward, I mean, Kubas and Berhalter's had a breakout campaign and probably should be going to the World Cup now. Kubas does all of the dirty work and will be looking to go to the World Cup with Paraguay too. As you said, Sabi on one side, Ahmed on the other. And when those fullbacks are tired, bringing on Jaden Nelson, it's just another wave of attack. Brian White, Thomas Muller need to link up well. And I was saying to you, I think the defence is going to be the one that decides this for both teams. Not to single him out too much, but Maxime Falcone has got away with it sometimes in these playoffs. That first round against Nashville when Sam Surridge should have scored, should have been a goal. He's looked a bit sloppy. I feel like if, Muller, the physicality, Brian White, he's shown in the last game, back post run, scoring from 2-3 yards each time. If they can really get onto him, it could be a massive deal breaker.
Yeah, and then looking at the Miami end, there's been some changes over the course of the year from this side when they matched up in April. Obviously, that was 5-1 on aggregate for Vancouver. Just looking at the line back then, Ustari, the incumbent Miami goalkeeper, has been replaced by Rios Novo, an academy player who's much better with the ball at his feet. I mean, Ustari is a relic of the international game. He's pushing 40 years old, a long veteran of Argentine soccer. Just comes from a different era, and it's been refreshing to see Mascherano take a really big risk and turn to a young player at that position. Fede Redondo was started in the second leg of that match. big player who came in from Argentina, $8 million. He was sold to Elche over the summer for $2.5 million, and he's not even playing. Player who really, really struggled. Obviously, the son of an Argentine legend, but he's been replaced in central midfield. And then, of course, the big change up front. Luis Suarez has been moved to the bench. Obviously, he was suspended late in the season, caused Miami to kind of reshuffle up their attack up front. Messi has moved into that false nine position, the position he popularized 10, 12 years ago with Barcelona under Pep Guardiola. This has allowed Matteo Silvetti to start every week at the wing, and he is just an absolute star. Obviously, Tadeo Allende, as Joe mentioned earlier, he set the record for most goals in MLS Cup playoffs.
He's tied it on 8 with obviously a hat trick and then back-to-back braces. Yeah. And Miami as a whole, they've scored 98 goals combined in the regular and postseason, which is the most ever. I mean, obviously, if they can get 2 against Vancouver, which will be difficult, but 100 goals over a season. They've also broken the record. This may be a factor to consider as well. They've played the most games in a season out of all MLS teams in history. Obviously, the Club World Cup being a factor in that too. But they've played a lot. Messi's had his minutes managed and still been MVP and the best player in the league.
I mean, what's helped is that this hasn't been the same team all season. There's a host of different players. Rodrigo de Paul came in for this, obviously on loan, option to buy, massive, massive fee, and he's a really good all-action midfielder. Yeah. You know, he was starting to show his legs a little bit in La Liga. He wasn't always picked for Atletico Madrid, but he has just enough endurance to make it work in the MLS. And this is a guy, goal threat, assist threat, and constant nuisance on the ball, off the ball. And I mean, I think playing in the playoffs has given him that extra boost he's needed to in level of motivation. And how there are rumors obviously doesn't pertain to the finals that Miami are interested in Timo Werner this offseason as a DP. I mean, do they even need a center forward if Messi's going to play there? I mean, you need someone. It's just a different change or whatever. But it's just interesting how Miami has kind of changed their philosophy and changed half their team over the course of the season, and they've gotten to the promised land.
One bit of a rogue shout in terms of a striker. Obviously, Christian Benteke said he's going to leave DC United. Yeah. If he stays in MLS and if he's still fit, imagine him up top. Like, he's been, I know this is away from the MLS Cup Final. He's been so short, I think. He's been such a good player, such a good goal scorer, but I feel sorry for him without being disrespectful to DC. He's just had a terrible time with the back team. I think he could do amazing there.
Yeah, you think about the profile. What does the best version of Miami look like? Does it look like a forward who is the furthest player? Now with Messi, you see he's the one dropping further in, and it's Allende and Silvetti are the players much further up the pitch. Would this change then with a classic center forward who is occupying that space, highest up the pitch, where you have the wingers tucking in? I think Miami are at their best when Messi is kind of playing a little more as a number 10 role as opposed to out wide.
He's a playmaker.
He's still the ultimate playmaker. And he's so old. He's old, and he started playing at 17. It's absolutely amazing. Joe, I wanted to ask, so we're going to have a first-time MLS Cup winner this year. It's either going to be Miami or Vancouver. Obviously, franchises of different historical lore. Miami, very new team. Vancouver Whitecaps are named after an old NASL side that competed in the Pele, George Best NASL era, the 60s and 70s. Vancouver, obviously, a ton of near misses in the Western Conference playoffs. But let's look at each team quickly. What do you think a win for Miami would mean for the soccer landscape, both in America and internationally?
Aside from just what it would mean to those players and that club, the exposure. I mean, that would be everywhere. Lionel Messi winning another trophy, all of those players retiring too, the scenes that would be, David Beckham being heralded for what he's done, just how they've come into the league and dominated and showing, the blueprint and how to do things. I think it would go global. I think it'd be massive for MLS, Miami, everyone involved. In terms of Vancouver, it would be more of a historical one. I feel like they deserve something.
Yeah.
This is their first MLS Cup Final too, and they've been around for a lot longer. I feel like it'd be a big win for Canada. I mean, the Blue Jays, I don't want to talk about them, got let down again. The Leafs aren't doing anything anytime soon. Different coast. But it would be a big win for them as a nation, I think, and that would be mental on the team. I'd be happy for Muller. But in terms of the game, obviously it'd be amazing for both teams, but globally and for the exposure that the MLS wants, I feel like obviously Miami winning will just blow it up.
Yeah. For Vancouver, this is I believe, their third final of the year. Obviously, they were in CONCACAF final. They lost to Mexican opposition, and I believe they won the Canadian Cup.
They won, fourth straight Canadian Championship, and was it 5-0 to Cruz Azul in the Championship?
That was not good.
No, it wasn't
not
great.
Pretty. But yeah, third final of the year. I mean, again, I think a really respected franchise.
Yeah.
Kind of a team that's been waiting for this marquee star. Muller is, you would say, the most heralded player in Vancouver history. Team has been very consistent. You would never say they're cellar dwellers. It's a beautiful city. And I think it would be generally good for the sport in any other year if it wasn't for Miami. I do think if Miami wins, there's going to be some shouts that from like a David Beckham point of view, this is a self-aggrandizing sort of situation where it's like, oh, look at Beckham coming in, gets his friends to come, and oh, he wins. Oh, of course he does. It's like no one actually, anyone who isn't a close observer would just say, wouldn't give Miami any credit. But in reality, this is a really tough league. This is the best version of Miami we've seen in 3 years. And it's taken some time to build. It didn't just snap of fingers. Messi comes in, waltzed in, and walked the league. I actually think it's a testament to the strength of the league that Miami realized, and this group of players realized how much tougher it would be. But I still think I'm worried there's some international optics of being like, oh, Messi just took the league by storm. It's not like Ronaldo's done very well in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. I don't think he's won anything. Has he? No.
Trophyless.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you look at it from the outside in, it's just, Messi joins, trophies happen, which is obviously partially true.
It should happen. I mean,
of course, but that team's built with him. It's been carefully managed. I mean, it's basically, Mascherano's left the Argentine youth setup and essentially just brought it to domestic soccer instead.
Yes.
But it's exciting, and they will I'm sure they have already thought ahead. With all these young players coming in, they would have known if Albert was going to be done. They would have known Busquets is probably going to go. They know that Suarez isn't going to probably last after this season. So that it's already rebuilding. I think they need to go out on a high. I do wonder, though, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem, but they had a tough test against Nashville, and they blitzed Cincinnati 4-0 and then New York City 5-1. Whereas it's been the opposite for Vancouver, easy over Dallas, 2-2, and then penalty shootout win against LAFC. They're kind of more built for that fight. They've obviously played a bit more, but Miami may have found it quite easy the last couple of games. I'm sure they won't be in their mindset as a team full of winners, but one's had to really grind after an easy start, and the other has been reversed. Do you think that plays anything into it?
I'm not sure. I mean, I do think the minutes situation matters. Obviously, they have that game. Vancouver had that crazy game go to extra time against LA a week and a half ago. I mean, I don't think that doesn't matter considering it's been a very, very long season. I mean, Thomas Muller started the campaign playing for Bayern Munich. You know what I mean? Like he's getting up there in age, and that certainly matters. I think the travel helps. I mean, Miami obviously doesn't have to go anywhere. They've been in just an amazing run of form at home. Obviously, their little hiccup against Nashville came on the road. I think from a momentum point of view, sure. I mean, if they concede early, they could become destabilized. But I think anyone would become destabilized if they concede early in the Cup final. So I wouldn't say particular and recent results matter. And just very quickly going back to your point about this team Mascherano has built, all these young players know that once Messi leaves, they are under no obligation to stay to Miami. A lot of them have greatly increased their profile. I think a player like Silvetti. And he will get a move somewhere. And this would be honestly a perfect stepping stone. He will have played with Lionel Messi in meaningful games and get a move to a big club and make Miami money. Kind of everyone wins. That is the slam dunk signing that we've been saying, that this is what Miami can leverage with their Argentine base. So really, really excited for him. Before we talk in circles about this, because there's so many things to say. Where do you think this one's going to turn up, Joe? How do you think it's going to happen? How do you think it's going to play out?
I'm not saying this to be on the fence. I really do think anything could happen. I feel like it could go all the way to penalties. I feel like Vancouver could steal it. And I say steal it, it's just, they're away in regulation. Miami could do the same. But I would be surprised if Miami didn't win just because of everything riding on it. It feels like a huge game for so many reasons, like we've just been saying for the last 14 minutes. I think they will win. I think it might be an extra time victory, like a 2-1. That's where I think it's heading. But I'm ready to also be completely surprised and shocked, and I can't wait to already digress it when we record next. But I think Miami I don't think it will be by more than one goal.
Yeah. Just with what Landon Donovan said, I mean, I agree. It is a nightmare matchup for Miami. I still think they're that good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chance they score 3 goals in the first half and just run away with the game. And I just don't think Vancouver can allow that to happen. They need to stay in the game. So the longer they stay in the game, like, they are dynamic. They are better than anyone Miami's faced in this playoffs. And they have the dynamic playmakers who can win one-on-one matchups against the Miami defense without much of an issue. But if they're down 2-0, it won't matter. That being said, I'm going to say 3-1 Miami. I think they're going to beat them on the break. This Vancouver defense has been great to start the season. It's been a little more rickety since. I'm still thinking Miami 3-1 victory.
Can't wait. I wish it was kind of later in the day, but I get why. But 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, Saturday.
Early Vancouver time.
Very early. What was that? It must be 10:30?
3 hours.
3 hours, 11:30. But, it's either going to be an amazing Saturday in Vancouver or a very long and painful one.
Hopefully they're going crazy in Stanley Park. I love Vancouver. It's a beautiful city. Not this time of year. It's cold and dark. But in the summer, beautiful city. Miami, less of a city I'm enthused about, but you know what? They have some pretty cool, old, historical things going on, beautiful architecture. I think this is going to be a Miami victory, but again, I am much more prepared to expect anything in this one than I have been in some of the previous Eastern Conference matchups.
Yeah, I think it's the most exciting one in recent times. I can remember there's been some great ones. Obviously, that LAFC Philly one was one of my favourite games I've ever watched, I think, not just MLS, but yeah, I think this is going to be fantastic. MLS always delivers, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I always talk about the 2016 final, Seattle versus Toronto. I mean, just Seattle had no business winning that game, and they somehow did.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Anyway, that's been us. Take it easy, guys. No classic outro, and we'll be back to recap next week.
Prediction for this weekend?
I think Miami win, but I think the worst team Miami could have faced is Vancouver. The sports are often about matchups, and Vancouver match up really well with Miami, but I think being at home gets them over the edge.
Yeah, some of those Vancouver wingers are really playing really well.
Good.
All right, thank you so much.
Good job.
Yeah,